Mic check. Mic check. Just had a little bit of tunage on, listening to the old album Lost and Forgotten by the band Tenebrosis, Polish metal band, no longer around. Anyways, welcome. QandA live stream for April 2025. Mic check. Looks like it's good. All right, cool. 5x5. Welcome all. Anyone coming in, welcome. Monthly Q&A, April 2025. As always, I will start with the community post questions. There's like 4 of them. So I'll go through those. And then shoot the breeze with everyone for the live stream. So first off, 10 gauge, Tactical Muffin Top, Alpha Charlie Concepts, Demo Man Don. What's up, guys? Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Couple of things to start before I get into the questions. This live stream is sponsored by myself. Fractal Spectral Camouflage Systems. Ordered a couple of promo shirts and stuff for, expos and marketing and things like that. I ordered business cards too, but those are taking longer. Other show and tell. I went to a banger show the other night to go see a band that's been on my bucket list for a long time, a band called Belphegor from Austria. They don't come to the U.S. very often, so I got to see them. A couple other bands, Veil of Fanath, Arcona, and then local act from Chicago called Beyond Death opened. Got some cool shirts, swag. Belphegor. Love Belphegor. And the band I'm in, Aposticum, they're a big influence for that project. And then Veil of Fanath shirt. I love that splatter logo, or the creep logo. Freaking dope. I love metal shirts. There's some good memes out there about metal shirts. Yeah. So, and then Fracty, I don't retail, like I said. These are just promo shirts for myself, for the company and stuff, and when I go to expos and whatever else marketing wise and all that. So, but yeah, some cool stuff there. So now that that's out of the way, community post questions. I will go through those first, answer those, and then free for all in the chat here. Just hang out with everyone, answer questions, all that good stuff. Live Fighters Anonymous, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Got a branded shirt for promo, marketing, all that fun stuff. But all right, community post questions, and then I'll answer questions and talk with everyone in the chat. So bear with me here. I only got a couple of questions in community posts, so I'll answer those quick, and then we'll get to it. So first question was from Shadowy Snowman 2141. Is Iraq still in the top or upper spot for private military contractor, private security contracting work? Yes. Or are there more countries where it's more common given the end of Middle Eastern wars? No, we have a fairly permanent presence in Iraq. We have several military bases still around, apart from the embassy and stuff, throughout Iraq. And yeah, there's still long-term Worldwide Protective Services WIPS contract work to be had in Iraq. And he said, always wanted in on those big-time Iraq gigs that were common during the 2000s. Too bad you were only a kid during that time. Yeah, you're a youngin'. And that was really the heyday. I mean, that was the big contracts. I mean, they still pay well now, but it was very different then. To the extent or extension of that question, we almost forgot. For the American companies, do they only allow TCN? I'm not sure what you mean by that acronym. That's looks like a European acronym. Armed guards from countries listed on the task order, or can you get in via other means? He's just worried that his country may not be listed in a task order when you try to apply. So it depends. You have to look at the job listings for the companies. If it says you have to be a U.S. citizen or have a U.S. passport, that's what the requirement is. There are some companies who will hire expats, or they have facilitation companies throughout Europe that they work with to hire expats for certain jobs and details. There's a number of European security companies operating in Iraq and other places too. I know there's at least one from the Czech Republic, one from Croatia, a couple from the UK that all operate in Iraq and the Middle East, like Aranis, and there's some other ones out there. So you have options as a European to get into that line of work if you have the applicable background and experience that you can show your skills, to be hired on to go do that kind of work. There's a lot of recruiters on places like LinkedIn and stuff, and then job listings, not only on Indeed, but also through like ADP, through like the company websites. A lot of the time they use ADP for job listing. It might be a little different for Europe, but there's plenty of listings out there. You just go read the criteria and see what's applicable. See what works for you, what fits with your background and your applicable experience and verifiable background, and you can go from there. Alan Cheong, third country nationals. Well, I mean, most of Europe isn't third world, so but there's plenty of European security companies operating in Middle East and other places too, right alongside U.S. companies and otherwise. So there's opportunities out there. You just got to look around and you just have to understand what the listed criteria and stuff are. And when you go and talk with a recruiter, you really need to get good information. Ideally, they should be good at their job, and they're going to give you everything you need to be prepared for hiring process and onboarding and everything, and understanding what the pay is, because some of those companies will underpay. Some of them you can negotiate, some of them it is what it is. It just depends what the contract is, where you are, what your position is, at what level, and like all that stuff. So there's a lot of nuances to it, but it's corporate, understanding corporate stuff, but at the same time, there's a little bit more nuance just because of the nature of those companies and the job and everything. But I mean, corporate security companies, so understanding what the structure is and what to expect going in, working for a lot of these companies, and if they have good standing and they're well organized and things like that, because some aren't. It just is what it is. So you really got to do your due diligence there with vetting and an assessment of who looks good to work with, and talk to recruiters. They're going to give you some good information if they're good at what they do, and they're a good pipeline. They're a good segue to get into that pipeline and get to doing that kind of work. And it's a crawl, walk around kind of thing. You have to have experience in order to be able to do those jobs, especially in the conflict zones, in a lot of those overseas contracts. So prior military experience, prior SWAT background, things like that. Oh, Shadowy Snowman. Okay, yeah. So I just answered your question, man. So there's a lot to it. Just due diligence and look at the criteria on job listings and stuff, and talk to some recruiters. It put yourself out there. Fire off some emails, make some calls, ask questions. Make a list of questions, get them answered, and you can go from there. And if they're not able to do it, like say a U.S. company, normally they're not too ambiguous in their job listings, but if for some reason they are, ask a question, be like, hey, do you hire expats, from other countries or whatever? And if they don't, if they're pretty well networked, or the recruiter kind of knows their stuff, they'll be able to point you in the right direction, or give you a contact for another company to talk to, so it's just put yourself out there and make sure you have good questions and that you have all your ducks in a row. So your I love me book, as we say, so all your documentation, your certifications, everything applicable there, have your equivalent to what military discharge, and all that information, your records brief and everything, like all that's together, and ready to provide to them as they ask for it. Along with passport, citizenship status, like all that stuff. So just have all your ducks in a row, but have a good list of questions, and just get after it and do some research. So he says, all right, then I gotta spend time in my country, the Bahamas. Okay, Tactical law enforcement again background. Look at Africa. Yeah, crawl, walk, run. So yeah, get some time in law enforcement. I know Bahamas doesn't really have a military force, although part of the Bahamas is British territory, so you could join the British military possibly and get some background there too. I know they have minimum like 1-2 year service time, which is less than us. I mean, you can always try the U.S. citizen pipeline the legal way and join the U.S. military if you wanted to get some background. But British military is a great way to go, and there's some good companies out there for them. So good luck. Good questions. Okay, next one from the what is it? Protection Insight Security Channel. It used to be Angry Security Guard Channel. Friend of the channel. His question is, what do you think of security guards that claim they're overqualified because they work 25 years, but when it comes to coordinating operational plans, they have no idea what to do, and they ruin it and make you and the company look bad. It was a rant message that he sent me. Yeah, so there are some old timers like that, you know. I see that too in domestic contracts with like prior law enforcement guys. Sometimes like they think they know everything, and then they get into a situation and they just crumble. And then guys that are long-term security, private sector, but only do low-end and entry-level style domestic contract stuff, or to that degree, and they don't have any training, certifications, or real experience besides just standing around and talking to people. They may have communication skills, maybe. But when somebody says they've done this, this, and this, and it directly contradicts what you're seeing in the field and their applied skills, I mean, yeah, that's a problem. They need to go through serious remedial training. They need to go through recertifications, requalifications, whatever else. They need to do further advanced training, whether that's out of pocket or provisional by the company. Which, if the company's good, they should be supporting their staff like that and providing advanced training in a number of ways anyway, because it's an investment. You're investing in your people, and in turn, they stick around longer. But hiring competent people is kind of important. So yeah, it is a big problem when that happens. And I've seen it before too. It is a problem. And it's like, why are you here? You're not supposed to be doing this. And it is a problem. So if they can't hack it, even after providing remedial training and things like that, and they're still they still have that really terrible mindset and they're making mistakes and stuff, get rid of them. They're a liability to the team, the employee, the coworkers around them, and the company. So no, get rid of them. Dead Prepper, what's up, dude? Camouflage tests, they're coming soon. Yeah, Homefront scenarios. We want the camo. What's up, dude? I'm so glad you're in here. So news with that. I have one more community post question to answer, but real quick, news with that, and we can talk about that more after I answer this other question. I did order some test yardage of 2 of the patterns in 1.9 ounce sil poly, so silicone coated polyester ripstop for making some ponchos, some test ponchos for marketing, promo, things like that. So that'll be coming soon. I just ordered them today, so be waiting for that stuff to come. And then I just ordered promo t-shirt and stuff for myself for demo and marketing and things like that. And the expo circuit whenever that may come around and stuff. But yeah, anyway, so just today I ordered that, and then I ordered some fabric tags and some other stuff too, just for the personal test products and things like that. So when that comes in, I'll be doing more promo stuff about that. And if you are on Instagram, the brand is on Instagram. I have a page for Frac T Camo on Instagram as well. So if you're not following it, please do. Apart from the website. Dead Prepper, hell yeah. Are you down with the poncho? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's the easiest way to get a camouflage system made in order to do testing and showcase and things like that, because it's a fairly, it's a big piece of material. Again, I don't do retail at all. I'm not retailing anything. It's all the way I have my brand structured. It's all IP licensing and everything. So, but with further promo, further marketing, showcase with these test products and things like that, that further provides just good media and incentive and other things for companies to look at and be like, oh, hey, cool, I really like this pattern, let's license. um yeah, it's all IP licensing on my end. George Washington, thanks for tuning in. You're continuing forward with the campaign on getting FracT adopted and in the process of getting more people involved. Hell yeah, dude. I appreciate the hell out of you, man. Whenever I do get a licensee on board, I'm going to be sure to make sure that you are duly recognized, man. You've been really grinding and pulling for me on that, so I appreciate it, dude. You're awesome. Yeah, hopefully something comes along soon. I've got 2 smaller companies that have approached me. But they either don't have a direct textile source that they get their yardage from, like they just order it from one of the distributors, like Rocky Woods Fabrics or whatever, or Camo Fabric Depot or whatever. So with like the gear company stuff and all that, it's with licensing with them, it's usually they have to have some kind of direct pipeline to a printer, to a mill or printer, in order for it to work. And the printer has to have digital printing capability for my patterns. So then, licensing with them and stuff, and then a production agreement and NDA and stuff with the mill to print that yardage exclusively for the company with the licensing agreement or the contract. So that's kind of how that works with that. So, so it's a process. It's a grind, just got to continue. You got to spend money to make money in a sense, right? So, that's why I've got the test materials. First, I want to see if because I ordered them through Ripstop by the roll. I want to see if they're good with it and if the products come out the right, right and everything. That's part of it. Just ordering test. I know they're going to print fine. Otherwise, it depends because no two printers are exactly the same, right? And you have to have certain color profiles set for the designs and things like that, in order to be compatible with the printers and all that process. Digital printing is cheaper than rotary screen printing, which is what a lot of typical camouflages are printed. How they're printed is rotary screen. Digital printing is a little bit less expensive, which is good. But there's a little bit more you have to do with it. So in a different way than for rotary screen and stuff. So Alpha Charlie, wish you were caught up enough. You could make a few things. You can make a few things for me, dude. Hell yeah. Well, you and Bug Out Bushido, because I know he wants to start his own company too, making stuff. I would love to work with you guys. Absolutely. One of the other companies guys that hit me up is Citadel Defense. He was asking, and it's like, well, do you have a direct mill or printer that you work with, or are you just ordering secondarily through a distributor? And he's just ordering through a distributor for now. So he has his stuff made in Ohio, I guess. And then there was one other guy. His company's not started or not up and running yet, but he was interested as well. So I emailed him. But Alpha Charlie, John, I would love to work with you, man. Absolutely. I would love to see my patterns get made in some Swamp Fox rigs and stuff. That would be amazing. So whatever that process is, however you do things and stuff. I mean, if you have a direct mill that you work with or whatever, I mean, we talk back and forth. So, I mean, just let me know in our chat that we have, and I'll talk to whoever about trying to figure it out. So that would be great. George Washington, nonstop letters, phone calls, emails, members, dude, you're awesome. I appreciate the hell out of you, George. You're awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. Home front scenarios. What do you think about a FracT helmet cover? Not sure how easy it would be to make, but it seems like it'd be an easier start for you to get the fabric printed. So the other problem is, where I got fabric ordered from, Ripstop by the roll, they don't have NICO ripstop, which is typical uniform fabric, which also includes for helmet covers. They don't have NICO for custom design print to order stuff. They also don't have a heavy enough weight denier typical nylon for print. They had a 1000 denier Airwave, but they're not getting it anymore. So the only things that I can order for them are more lighter weight stuff for like ponchos, like material types, like a lot of ripstop polyester stuff. But like for like ponchos or like ultralight backpack material and stuff, that's a lot of their specialty is that hiking, ultralight hiking and outdoors kind of fabrics. They have Cordura nylons and stuff, but they don't have them on a custom print option for me to order test yardage and stuff, which, I'm just working with what they offer, unfortunately. That and I mentioned it in some of the chats, like in Discord and stuff. Their custom design program on their website has a file cap of 60 megabytes for a design file, which is tough because my designs are scaled larger, or just the scale of the pattern, the sizing of it, and the quality, resolution quality, and everything involved with that. Most of those files are larger than that, so I can't even get those printed because their system won't accept them. So I got a couple of the patterns printed. They're not even quite to scale as they should be, but they're close. So I'm just getting them to test to make sure the colors are right, and then also just to have something to make some mock up promotional marketing products and stuff. And with that, that's incentive to be able to work with other mills and stuff. So that's kind of how it's going. But as for now, I mean, they don't have the right material for me to do that. And again, I'm not retailing anything. I do IP licensing. So IP license with gear companies or IP license with a print to order or distributor textile mill printer, whether it's like Shop Fabrics and Camo Fabric Depot or whatever, So that's how my brand is set up. George Washington, you'd be down for a smock light? That would be cool. I would love to see my stuff on the smock light. Yeah. Randall's Little Adventures. Hey, thanks for tuning in. From scenarios, actually been really fascinating learning about camo design through the whole experience on this. Yeah, and it's a learning process for me, understanding, like, I understand some of the textile industry side of it, but some of my background, I was doing protection for textile industry executives for like sports apparel companies and stuff, not the camo hunting tactical side so much. So learning more about that side has been really interesting. But like with the camo stuff, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, the whole trademark process and all that to like get a brand, made and everything was not cheap. I have a really good lawyer though, who has experience doing it. So, that's a win. But again, you got to spend money to get things off the ground, so it's been a very interesting process. I've learned quite a bit, that's for sure. 10 Gauge, you have returned. Welcome back. One guy who talked about hydro dipping, a shotgun will be contacting me. Awesome. Yeah, cool. Fantastic. I know I need to talk to another company here in my state that does pattern Cerakote and dips for American Defense Manufacturing, ADM. The company that does it for them, might be talking to them soon too for doing pattern Cerakote and hydro dipping for some of their rifles. We'll see what happens. George Washington, I've been trying to get American Pipe Dream involved, but I haven't replied to letters or portraits, seal and wax or nonstop phone calls. And they're local homies. I should reach out to them. I'll try and talk to them at some point, but they don't do any manufacturing. I mean, it's pretty much all milsurp retail for them. Besides, like their branded stuff that they sell, like with the Americana Pipe Dream, logo and stuff, their branded stuff. But I mean, you can just like these, like I got through Vistaprint. That's how they're doing that with that. So they don't have their own like actual camo products or anything. So it's all surplus with them. But they do sell new stuff as well, like from various military manufacturers and stuff. So again, if I can get in with the mill and then work with companies and stuff, they can be one of the distributors, one of the retailers, at some point or another, possibly. They do have knowledge, that's for sure. Yeah. Pretty smart group of young fellas over there. So I need to talk to them too, for sure, at some point, in the future when everything's good to go there. Real quick, let me finish this last community post question, and then I'll just keep shooting the breeze with everyone. ACR Protect, as always, great questions. Thanks for throwing them out there. He says, good evening, my friend. Let's see, Brain Busters got for me this month. Well, my favorite taco. Ooh, green chili chicken taco. I have a place near me that is rooted from like Texas and stuff, and I lived in Texas for a few years as a kid, so it's proper Mexican and Tex-Mex style. That they have a green chili chicken taco that is, I will smash like 8 of those things. They're so good, and they're good sized tacos too. They don't skimp. They're I like them quite a bit. Yeah, probably my favorite taco that I've had of recent. They have a really good blackened cod taco as well, fish taco as well. That's really good. And then he has dirt bike or four wheeler. Four wheeler is a little more stable, but I'd say dirt bike. A little more maneuverable, and you can kind of get some places that a four wheeler necessarily can't per se. They're also more fuel efficient, so I'd say dirt bike. And then, and then he has cocaine and midget hookers or cocaine and midget hookers. Yes. Good questions, man. Thank you. That's funny. Always a good time. Yeah. All right, back to the chat here. Quit ordering all this. 10 Gauge says, quit ordering all this fucking snow, damn it. Well, dude, send some more back my way. I love snow. It's finally getting to the point where we're starting to see some of the spring transition here. But I mean, being we live where we are, I mean, we could get snow in the beginning of May. It happens sometimes. So who knows? Who knows? It's supposed to warm up into the 60s this weekend, but then the next week we could get a dusting. Who knows? Yeah, send some back my way. George Washington, USGI taco mag pouches. Yeah, I like flap cover pouches personally more myself, with snaps or Velcro and or both. Better retention. JK Surf and Turf. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Surf and Turf. Can't beat it. 300 Black with 2 C's. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Question: what do you think of confirmed Chinese nationals being taken as POWs by Ukraine volunteers or China trying to be slick? Also, its bank just got a new name. Metal up. So some of them are just expats that joined like Wagner and some of the Russian outfits. Because I've seen some others, including some videos of Chinese soldiers who are over there. So it's not like what North Korea is doing, sending actual like full units and stuff. It's more like individuals or maybe a small like fire team element of guys that the Chinese, the PLA may send over, but it's not on the scale like what North Korea is doing. So it's either an individual basis or just really small groups. But I have seen some as well. So it's interesting. They're there. And it's like with any conflict, you're going to see dudes from all over showing up. It was like that against the insurgents we were up against in Iraq. I mean, they were from all over the place, all over the Middle East, sub-Saharan Africa. Like there were Somalis that were in the mix, Chechens, Jordanians, Egyptians, Saudis, you name it, Syrians, you name it. Same deal for more conventional military forces as well. And then the private contractors and stuff. So you're going to get a mix of people from all over the place no matter what. So it's not surprising to me. It's interesting to see though. I don't think China's trying to be slick with it. I think it's just what I said before. I think that's what it is. George Washington, anyone here go to Winter Forge? Well, I went in 2022. I didn't get to this last time. Brent did, and he just put that video up, and it's fantastic. They got even less snow than what we got in 2022, and there wasn't a whole lot on the ground. There was a little bit, but there was even less this year, it looked like, and that's kind of disappointing. But it's an intermediate wet cold that's nasty to contend with. So it's good training. I say it's worth it. Especially for the price, it's worth it. So the SNS guys, Cole and Parker and all those guys, they're awesome people. So it's worth it. Brent's video is good, so definitely go watch Brent 0331's video on the Winter Forge from this last year. From this year. Home front scenarios: PLCE versus FLC flick. Which one is the way, quote unquote? I'm more privy to the PLCE for a more typical LBE system. The harnesses are very comfortable on them too. So, um, yeah, that's just what I would prefer of those two. Nothing against the flick though. You do you, but PLCE is my choice there. 10 gauge. I want to do spring cleanups for money, and yes, we'll send some back to you. Right on, dude. Yeah, still push forward with the camo stuff. I'm trying, man. It's a process. Reticle Rifleman. Hey, dude. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Glad you're here. Excuse your tardiness. Yeah, whatever. I always started kind of like, well, and I'm Central Time, so I'm starting it right, right at the end of the workday for people. So they're either on their way home, or they've just gotten home, or they're hitting the bar for happy hour, or whatever it is. I don't do it too terribly late, nor do I want to do it too terribly early in the middle, in the week when people are working. So I figure this is right around the best time for me to do it. So for what I'm able to do, but also just for people in general. East Coast, you're already, it's already what, 6:30 now, 18:30 there. So West Coast, deal with it. 10 gauge, you're funny. George Washington, you heard some North Korean soldiers beat to death having access to the internet. Yeah, they finally got phones with internet, and they're all gooning. They're all deep in the porn and everything. Yep. Oh my god, front. Attaboy, PLCE all the way. Yeah, dude, PLCE is the right choice. It is. For like a proper, LBE system. Yeah, they're good. That's why I like the Crossfire DZ rig too. It's the Aussie style PLCE basically. So I like those rigs too. 300 Black, thoughts on India and China conflict? I mean, it's going on a very long time. So, and the two most populous nations, contending over a border dispute, and also attempting to assert themselves as world superpowers when they have a myriad of problems internally in their own countries to deal with first. But they both have nukes. So it's a sketchy situation. The India-Pakistan conflict on the other side in the Kashmir is it's much more kinetic. The Chinese and Indians just going at it with sticks and rocks and everything. I mean, it's hilarious. It's Battle of the Nations straight up. If anyone doesn't know what Battle of the Nations is, it's armored combat league, like medieval armor and stuff, and then you have blunted weapons. You just whack the shit out of each other. That's basically what they're doing there. I mean, they should televise it. I'd grab the popcorn. I've seen videos of it, but hilarious. But yeah, joking aside, it's a dicey situation. So it's both those countries. I mean, China's got some relative self-control, but all it takes is for one really serious catalyzing event, and it could get really, really, really bad over there. But either between India and China, or India and Pakistan. And India and Pakistan have regular gun battles with each other, and artillery strike each other. And there's a good video out there. Some Indian special forces guys using a Carl Gustav on some Pakistanis and stuff, and over on Funker and stuff. So like, there's footage out there. You can see what's going on, and it can get pretty hairy. That's for sure. So overall, dicey situation, something that needs to be monitored. Homefront, yeah, immediately Google's Crossfire rig. Yeah, the DZ rig, they just released it not that long ago. They have it in M81 US Woodland. They have it in, I think, Tiger Stripe. Yeah, they have it in Tiger Stripe now too. And then FedCam or Multicam, whatever. And then I think they have it in just plain Ranger Green, and I think they offer it in Coyote Brown or Khaki Tan or whatever as well. It would be cool if Crossfire wanted to license with me for Frac T, I don't know where they do their textile license sourcing from though. Probably China or Vietnam or something. I don't think they have an in-house mill or printer that they're using in Australia though, so can't do it then. I only want to work with domestic production. Or what would be equivalent for berry compliance, whether it's with European companies or Australian companies, whatever. it's got to be that equivalent. Like, I don't want to give the Chinese a dime of anything. I don't even want to give them the patterns because they're going to steal them. It's just, I, out of principle and morals, I cannot do it, and I will not do it. 10 gauge, yes, it's 6:35. Yeah, you're an hour ahead of me. There's Black, yep, very true. Priorities are scrambled. They are, absolutely. You know, they got to figure a lot of stuff out for themselves internally before they can even try to contend with us or any other number of countries. George Washington, anyone have recent info on Burma, Myanmar, or maybe FARC in South America? So with Burma, Myanmar, obviously there was a massive earthquake that hit Myanmar and it hit Thailand, and I've got buddies in Thailand right now, and then Ephraim Matos and Stronghold Rescue and Response are operating in Myanmar as well, doing emergency medical evacuation and stuff in some of the conflict regions and stuff in the north of the country. The earthquakes were bad, especially in Burma. A lot of people died because their buildings aren't, in that part of Southeast Asia, those buildings are not designed for earthquakes. And that was like, I think it was like a 7.8 magnitude or something like that. It was right around there. It was bad, very bad. And the conflict is ongoing. You've got 30 plus different types of rebel factions and stuff, and then you got the military junta, and there's a couple of other offshoot militia type factions as well on the side of the junta as well, to include a communist party group from India who's about that whole like wanting to get autonomy and sovereignty for their little bit of territory that are fighting on the side of the junta. I just saw a video the other day on Funker of them using an M60, which doesn't feel right. Using the pig against the rebel forces fighting the Myanmar government. Conflicts are ongoing. It's very kinetic over there. I mean, the fighting's happening all the time. FARC in South America, the actual FARC group, I mean, there's still tensions, and they're Colombian government's still trying to push forward with disarmament and reintegration and all that stuff. There are a lot of contingents within FARC that are continuing to resist that and are actively still working with the cartels for cocaine production and all that stuff. And then there's some offshoot groups from the FARC as well that are trying to stir the pot up and are attacking government forces in Colombia and stuff too. So still dicey, but for the most part, like when you go to a city like in Colombia and stuff, I haven't been to Colombia in a few years, but it's relatively safe. You still have the risk of just being, just petty crime, like being robbed, there is that risk in some of the cities, but overall it's pretty safe now compared to what it was 20, 30 years ago. So, it is what it is. Great nightlife, great food, a lot of the stuff with FARC and all that is out in the mountains and the jungles. It's not in the cities or where most populous areas are. You don't really have much of a risk of being kidnapped unless you go out of your way to go out into some of those areas where they're present. But you're just asking for trouble then if you're going out there. So, tech age, two-handed longsword. Sure, longswords are cool. Practical rifleman, intellectual theft it absolutely is a major problem with China, is IP theft. That Kevin guy who's on Shark Tank and stuff, big business guy, millionaire, billionaire, whatever. He just had a talk with some news people yesterday or whatever, and he was talking about that, and that's why he refuses to work with any production or companies out of China as well, because IP theft, they go unchecked. You can't fight. He said it, he's like, you can't fight them in their own courts. It's messed up. It's like, no, I'm going to do everything I can tooth and nail to protect my intellectual property. I'm not going to work with Chinese textile mills or textile printers or anything. And one of the first companies that approached me was an American company that's owned by a Ukrainian expat who's an American citizen, nice guy and everything. No problem talking to him, but all of his textile sourcing was out of China, and it's like, nope, can't do it, man. I need a guarantee of protection, and he can't give that to me. He just, yeah. So no. 300 Black. Do you think vehicle recovery mechanic is a viable role in the army for civilian life? And if so, do you know any individuals who did it and made good use of it in their future endeavors? Yeah, I know a few. It is a very good job to go into. Vehicle recovery and just general mechanic. I mean, you're gonna be a wrench monkey no matter what. But yeah, with vehicle recovery and stuff, I mean, yeah, there's some good work to be had. One of my buddies did that, and he went back to school and got a master's in engineering and stuff, and he works for a pretty well known company as a mechanical engineer. So yeah, a lot of good opportunity there. And there's other jobs like you can go work for Oshkosh Defense, you go work for International, for their defense sector or their semi truck sector, whatever you want to do. You can go work for Caterpillar, whatever. You got a lot of really good options for work. Or if you want to go work for a towing service or a repo service, whatever. And it's not just limited to that. I mean, go get an engineering degree. You can do whatever. So, I mean, you got a lot of options with that job field. So, yeah, it's a good one. Solitude 731. Anybody want to buy some gold? Thanks for tuning in, by the way. Yeah, gold is up right now. That is good. Is it still over? I haven't looked at it in like a day or two. Is it still over 3,000 an ounce? I don't know. But yeah, gold's doing well right now. That's awesome. Maybe not quite the time to buy per se, but because it is up. But if you've got gold, you're good. Silver too. You're doing pretty well. Silver's up too. 10 gauge. Meant for the medieval blood beat down with the two-handed longsword. Oh yeah, with the Chinese and the Indians. No, I mean, yeah, they're just going at it with like broom handles and axe handles and tree limbs and hucking bricks and rocks at each other and stuff. It's wild. It's absolutely wild to see that in a non-riot, type of situation. It's just wild to see that in the 21st century. George Washington, you only invest in brass, copper, and lead. Hey, I mean, those are good investments too. Not that they're going to appreciate in value, but it's definitely an expendable asset, Practical Riflemen, are they up or is the dollar just down? Well, I mean, what's the base of everything on the freaking stock market? Pretty much the dollar, right? It's up though, but the dollar is down a little bit. But it's up. Gold is up. Scrap copper, brass, and lead. I mean, yeah, you can go be a brass goblin. Typical FUD. Nah, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make some money, scrounging some brass, go make some money scrounging some brass. Just don't be one of those guys about it. You know what I'm saying? 300 Black. Thoughts on conflict within Burkina Faso and ISIS employing it for their terrorist acts? They've also declined U.S. help. However, they're accepting help from Russia. Do you think this is a smarter idea? Yeah, the Daesh or ISIS splintering and spreading of influence throughout Africa is a big issue. And that's all the way down to Mozambique and stuff on the eastern side of the continent. They're present in Rwanda and some of those other countries. They're trying to encroach into the DRC as well. You've got Burkina Faso. You've got a number of other countries that are having problems with them now, and it's an issue. Russia does not have a good track record in Africa. We saw that with the CAR, Central African Republic, and what the Russians were trying to do there. And then Mali, they were in Mali for a short time after the French, Malians wanted the French to leave, which they did. Russia showed up. They weren't there very long before they left. They were told to leave, and then they asked the French to come back. Russians don't have that good of a track record out there. So Burkina Faso is going to learn the hard way at this point. They're going to learn that not making the best choices here. Unless they go absolutely, unhinged and no holds barred, fangs out the entire time. The Russians are aggressive. If the Burkina Fasoese want to be aggressive, which they need to be against ISIS, they may be effective for a little while, but long term, Russians just do things differently, and it ends up not being efficacious in the long run. So that's a problem. So they'll find out the hard way. No, they'll probably end up coming back to talk to us at some point, or the Brits, or whoever else, French, whoever. So they'll figure it out, but it needs to be dealt with because the continuation of spread, the continuing spread of ISIS throughout Africa is a big problem. So a lot more people are going to die, unfortunately. Homefront scenarios. What should the ideal Minuteman rifle look like? I have a video talking about rifle setups not terribly long ago. If you go look at my channel, personally, and this is just my opinion, just mine. You do whatever you like. Depends on, obviously it's going to be somewhat region dependent, but a general setup for a Minuteman rifle should be fairly simple. Fixed magnification rifle combat optic, be it an ACOG, PA, primary arms SLX. If you want to use an LCAN Spectre, whatever, or an LPVO, something like that. Fairly no frills, Don't get too Gucci with your parts. You need to make sure your parts have good compatibility and that that there's longevity to them. Because even some of the Gucci parts, because they're all polished up and everything, they can wear faster sometimes. Just depends on compatibility. So you need to ensure that that's there. If you're going to run a light. If you don't need it on your rifle, take it off your rifle for the time, put it back on when you need to. I like having a vertical foregrip to use as a hand stop and for other uses. It's very handy when patrolling for distance, because you're not going to be freaking high port, low ready the entire time patrolling. That's not a thing. You're going to be in patrol ready status or patrol status. You're going to be carriaging it. You're going to be holding it otherwise in a more relaxed state, which you need to train for react to contact drills and otherwise from your patrol status. D-balls and lasers and stuff. I mean, if you want to run them. Don't negligently discharge them. With nods, I do cross-focal aiming a lot of the time. So monocular, and I'm looking through reticle, and then you're shifting your vision focus to get them to overlap. And it's very effective. It's an old school technique, but it's very effective, and I still do it. So I don't need the laser per se for passive aiming. Do I use one sometimes? Sure, but I don't need it. That's pretty much it. Keep it simple. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what flash hider you have on there, whatever you like. A2 birdcage is good to go. It doesn't matter. You want to run a can, run a can. Again, doesn't matter. I don't care. Everyone has their preferences to it, but it should be a simple platform. Whether you want to go fixed stock or adjustable stock, doesn't matter. Do your thing, And again, regional application. What are the average distances you're training for and expecting in your region? Plains of Iowa or the Dakotas is going to be far different than in the mountains, right? Mountain engagements can be shorter range. The Appalachians may be shorter range, especially because of the density of the woods. Rockies might be a little bit longer distance, more akin to Afghanistan. The plains, you're probably gonna be seeing some longer range engagements. So, then what's the variation in that terrain? What's the applicability? That's why I say those types of optics are the best. I hate magnifier and dot combos. Refuse to use them. Yeah. You want to run iron sights? Run iron sights. If you can hit 300, 500 in irons, awesome. Do it. If that fits your needs, go for it. Yeah, it should be simple. Everyone makes it way too convoluted. Don't use pressure pads. They're terrible. They break. They don't handle austere conditions for a long time very well. I've had several break on me. You don't use those. Just stuff like you just keep it simple. QDs, no go. Don't use QDs. Either bracket and feed through slings or hooks. That's the way to go for slings. So it's just my 2 cents on it, I guess. 10 gauge, 3,400 an ounce for gold. Damn, nice. Yeah, it went up even more. That's awesome. There's a black. They've declined us. They've declined U.S. help for national interest reasons. However, for their small military, they could barely keep it together. Yeah. They have a pretty small military, Burkina Faso. So at some point or another, they're going to need help. And I'm sure the Russians are trying to squeeze them for every penny that they can. The U.S. DoD has dedicated assistance packages, training, advising, and stuff that we offer to foreign countries. So we would give them a better deal too if they wanted it. Security and Protection Insight Channel. Thanks for dropping in, dude. Tuning in, stuck in traffic. I answered your community post questions earlier, so we had talked about it already before, so it was a good one. Messy Studios, thanks for tuning in. Would you rather watch a tree grow or a knee grow? You're silly. You silly bastard. That's funny. Tree. How long I've been on? Going on 50 minutes. I go for about 2 hours, and I started at 1700, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I've been going for about 52 minutes now. So Practical Rifleman, why is Woodline Associates the best channel on YouTube? That's a good question. It is a collection of various channels and personalities working together, sharing the craft, providing good information in video form. Unfortunately, there's no merchandise anymore. The Printify store had to close because Printify's dumb and made a dumb move when it came to their income and payout system. But Woodline Associates is a good channel, and everyone should go subscribe to Woodline Associates. Alpha Charlie Concepts. If your rifle accomplishes the tasks you want it to in your terrain, in your situation, and you can reliably hit a man-sized targets within your area's typical engagement distances, then it's ideal. Bingo. Whatever's your flavor. I like to keep it pretty simple. So less to worry about on your system that can break or go wrong. I'm used to working with very little anyway, so But yeah, absolutely. 100% Alpha Charlie Concepts. On point, brother. Great answers all, that's for sure. 300 Black, do you think anything will actually kick off between US and Iran? If there is a major catalyzing event or series of events that directly affects us more than what's going on with like Houthis and the proxy situation there, potentially. That's all the strategic decision making, though. I mean, that none of us are a part of per se. The people in charge right now are going to make the decisions that they're going to make whenever something like that happens that contributes to making said decision. So catalyzing events. So like a for example, a large scale attack on one of our naval task forces out there. We're talking where it gets bad. Yeah, they're definitely going to see a proportional response, as the fat electrician would say. So, that's what it would take. is something very serious. Homefront Scenarios, got to run. Take care, everyone. Hey, thanks for tuning in, brother. Glad you could pop in and ask some great questions and hang out for a bit. Appreciate you. 10 gauge at Rondak Mountains, shotgun territory. Beautiful mountain ranges. Very, very much like the Appalachians. You know, you got dense woodland. You know, the peaks of the mountains aren't really sparse like the Rockies. So you got foliage. You got heavy foliage, dense foliage coverage pretty much with all of it. So I have heard of the Tongo ambush 300 Black. I've seen that video many times. Yeah. Thoughts on how it was handled, both during and after the event. Well, some things went wrong in that operation. They were down, or they were down some people, and then some of the Indige forces bailed. And some other thing. It was a small team, and some of the guys on the team weren't terribly experienced. Which, I mean, you got to get experience somehow. But they should have gone in with a slightly larger force and some better aerial support on readiness, because all they had was ISR. And the Indige forces acted like Indige forces that we could expect, unfortunately, and ended up getting our guys killed. Some of our guys killed, so that was bad. It was just a bad situation. Some things, some planning and things weren't done properly, I think, and yeah, it just needed a little bit more to support what they were doing, even though it was a fairly, I guess, quote unquote, routine thing that they were doing. At the same time, like just better support for those operations. Yeah, tragic situation. Alpha Charlie, got your teeth on Colt SP1s and M16A1s way back in the olden days. Hell yeah. It's just simple. Simple was all we had. Yep. Get off my lawn. I'm right there with you. M16A4s. And we were running those. We were running those in Sauter City and Radwanía and stuff. And you know, it was just in that time period we were trying, because I went through part of training with Woodland BDUs and stuff too, and then we started switching over to the god awful, you know, ACUs and everything. But it was still a mishmash of kit and everything, and using M16A4s. Some of our 88 mics still had M16A3s and stuff, and yeah, we shot BRM and ARM. We shot with irons, and then with the M68s. The old aim-point CCOs, and then when we got to Iraq, we got ACOGs. Well, some of us got ACOGs, and then over time, more of us got ACOGs, and then started getting the M4s and stuff. Now I had M203 on my M16, which was awesome. I love the 203. So I get it. I'm from that. I'm from a mix of that time period back then too. So, yeah. Used to use it very little. And same on the contracting side. I mean, when we were running AK platforms and stuff, they're bare bones, you know, and I'm fine with it. Yeah, no problems. ACR Protect, yo, shit, you did make it, dude. Thanks for tuning in. I answered your questions earlier. Humorous and enjoyable questions, so thank you. Green chili chicken tacos, by the way, phenomenal. I could eat a million of those. Yeah, ACR. Metal for breakfast. Hey, dude. Thanks for tuning in. You're late. That's okay. How's the camo business coming along? I'll answer that question shortly here. 300 Black, only ISR, a few technicals, was insane for that op. Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, that's special operations in Africa for you, you know. Predator Rifleman, you mean GACU? Yeah. Well, UCP on ACUs. ACU is the uniform change. The uniforms themselves were okay. A lot of people blew out the trousers on them, but like I like the pocket configuration on them. It's just a god awful camo pattern. UCP is terrible. Predator Rifleman, 2 or 3 of those old M68s laying around, underrated optic. Yeah, they're bomb proof, dude. Very well built. Joel Angeles, thanks for tuning in. What's up, DJ? You're listing as a 19 uniform. Once you graduated, a lot of folks have told you that it's perfect time to join. What are your thoughts? Now is better than prior administration. Yeah, it's ultimately your choice, but yeah, I mean now there's some good incentive now, and you're gonna get better. You're gonna get a better quality of training now. Absolutely. So good luck, dude. Just keep after it. Just push hard. You know, take everything in. Be a sponge. You know. Alpha Charlie, greetings, fellow 203 man. Hell yeah, Loaded 203. It was my baby, absolutely. Run into your life, dude. I loved it. I miss not having one. That's my SOT buddy. I think he's gonna buy one at some point, so I'll be able to play with one soon enough again. Because I haven't touched one in a few years now. Because we had a couple of contracting too, and because we have to qualify, we use and qualify on all that stuff, Mark 19s and everything too, and all that on the private sector side for those contracts like whips and stuff. But yeah, it's been a few years since I've been able to play with a 203, so I miss it. AC was decent once it got dirty. And that's the thing. Even then, it wasn't great. But like first thing I would do when I put on a fresh uniform, I would roll around on the ground to try and pick up some of the moon dust and sand and soil and everything because it was awful, absolutely awful. Joanna, the shipping. Here you appreciate it. Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Friggin' get after it, dude. Yeah, you'll make some of the best friends you'll ever have in your entire life there too, and you'll get great work experience. You'll get good training. You know, you'll get some good knowledge out of it. You know, just like I said, be a sponge. You know, do your job the right way, get trained the right way, do it the right way. You know, you'll be good, man. Yeah. Yeah. Now's a good time. You know, if you really want to do it, do it. So, Practical Rifleman, gotta run, gotta get the baby to bed. Damn, it's early, dude. But I feel you. Take it easy, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, back to Metal for Breakfast question. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'll go over it again. So, camo brand's going well. It's coming along well. I'm where I'm supposed to be in the process. The Instagram is up, so if you all haven't followed the FRACT camo FRACT camo Instagram page, go ahead and do that. Website's going well. Just ordered some test yardage of some some silicone coated ripstop polyester for poncho mock-ups for my promotional marketing uses and stuff, and just getting some more testing stuff and whatever. I mean, continual testing, but I mean I've already done testing and it works. I wouldn't have the brand out otherwise. But for more promotional marketing and everything, and just more good media and like all that stuff, and all that. So, but again, the way my brand is structured, so it's just doing more promotion and media and stuff, that incentivizes gear and uniform companies and certain textile mills and printers that do print to order and their own, their distribution and things like that, like Camo Fabric Depot and whatever for through Shop Fabrics, whoever it is, it gives them more to look at and more incentivization and stuff to want to license, because that's how my brand's structured. I do IP licensing. I don't retail anything. So it's a royalties based thing, a licensing income based thing. So once a company wants to license, and I've got a couple of smaller companies interested and people that want to work with me and that I would love to work with. It's just figuring out how they do things and what their sourcing is and everything and all that, and then and working from there, because some of the smaller guys that make gear, they just order yardage from a distributor, a Segway distributor that's between the mills and them, that don't do any printing or anything. So it's like I have to go to the mills for production agreements, printing agreements and stuff and everything. So companies that do have a direct pipeline, it's quicker and easier for them to do licensing. For those other companies, I need to know who they're, understanding what their distributor is, and then talking with the distributor and figuring out who their supplier is, which mill and printer and stuff is their supplier, and I have to talk to them. Whether they do something where it's print to order, or they have a online store for distribution of yardage or whatever, or if it's going to be that production partnership through that pipeline, that's something that I have to figure out, and I need that information from the companies that are interested in order to do the right things, talk to the right people, get the right things, going in motion. After in tandem with agreements and contracts signed and everything. So that's where I'm at. I've got some more promotional and marketing stuff coming. I just ordered business cards too. Did a promo t-shirt for promo and stuff for marketing and things like that too for myself. Again, I don't retail these. It was just part of the bundle from Vistaprint and stuff for that with the business cards and everything. But test yardage I got ordered today, so that'll be here in maybe a week or two. And then I can make some mock-up ponchos and do some more media and stuff. So, but that's where I'm in the process. I've got some people interested, but I got to figure out with their distributor that they're buying from, which mills and printers in the US or Europe, again, should be Project Maga in a lot of ways like that. I'm not going to work with Southeast Asian companies. So that's what it is. In a good spot though. So, it's just getting the info from them and just working towards doing that. A lot of these smaller companies, they just buy yardage from these distributors. So it's like, okay, because some of the mills and printers, if they're doing that production and then they're selling rolls to distributors, well, I need to have a production contract with the mill. And a lot of mills aren't doing that for most companies. They do it for some, like Multicam, and I've seen it for Nemesis a little bit and stuff. And then companies like Prim One and some of those other ones. So it's like, I'm in the same boat with that IP licensing like they are. So it's like, okay, need to incentivize them to want to also pick my patterns up for print production and then the getting them to the distributors. That's on them whether they want to do that or not. So I'm reaching out, but some can't do it, some ignore, some whatever. It just is what it is. It's just a business. So yeah, that's where that's all at. Through to Black, did you ever take your skills to train others worldwide during your tenure with contracting companies? I haven't done under like companies like Triple QandA, who I've worked for and stuff. No, I was not an instructor with them. I do some instruction, but it's not through any formal companies like that. I was developing my own training program, but that's kind of taken the sideline. Just because like I've been working on the camouflage brand for 3 years, and it was finally time for me to get that emotion. So that's what I've been focusing on. But yeah, sometimes I'll instruct, but no, not so much like that. In the Army, did a little bit of cross-platform training and instruction with coalition partners and stuff like British forces and things like that. But otherwise, it's just much more localized instruction, whether it's warrior skills and advanced tactics or pistols. I don't do CCW instruction or anything like that. I will teach people how to shoot a pistol or a rifle or whatever, if they're an unfamiliar shooter or just starting out or whatever. But I don't do any of that like CCW certification instruction stuff. The NRA sucks. And like some of those other organizations like USCCA and stuff, like I don't deal with them. So just kind of more on my own. Vader 608 fart noises. Yeah. Vader here, the homie that he is, brought me along, got me the ticket for that Belfagor show the other night, which is awesome. Got some sick swag, some sick shirts. So it was a good show. Belfagor was on my bucket list, so thank you, bro. It was a good time. Really good time. Yeah. Giggity. Security Protection Insight Channel. If anyone on here is in Middle Tennessee, tell them to reach out to you for BLS and STB classes. Hell yeah, long shot, but never know. Yeah. Some of the homies are kind of in that relative area. So Security Protection Insight Channel. He is he's a good dude. He knows his stuff, and he's certified and provides certifiable instruction and stuff. So, do you do PHTLS or PHTLE or whatever, or do you just do the BLS and STB stuff? Send you security inside. Send you some business cards. Put them out this way. Oh hell yeah, yeah. I did initial order 250. So yeah, I'll send some out to some people. Absolutely, I'll send some out to you. Metal for breakfast, right on. Business is never easy. No, it's not. Yep, just got to keep pushing, keep grinding. You know, I'm in a good spot. I'm at that point where all I need is for printers and gear companies and stuff to want to license. You know, if that's, you know, depending on what their model is and how they do things. So it's, you know, I reach out or whatever, or if they reach out, you know, and we figure out where each other are standing on things, you know, cool. So, but once mills, you know, printers, mills, you know, want to get involved or whatever, whether it's them directly or again with the gear companies that have a direct pipeline, and then the production agreements and licensing and everything, yep, off to the races. You know, that's all it takes. That's where I'm at right now. So, Brown Coat, BDH, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Yo, word homie, GG, what up, gangsta? What's up, dude? Twin Arrows, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Yo. No, not an EMT, so you can't teach that. All right, gotcha. I know, because you were talking about it a bunch, and you had gone either you had just done refresher or a recert or whatever. That's probably what I got mixed up. That's cool though. Yeah. So if people want legit certifying BLS and STB training, if you're around Tennessee, Security and Protection Insight Channel, the guy knows his stuff. He is a consummate professional. And those are people I like to be around. Hell yeah. This is good stuff, y'all. Time is flying by. Oh, right. Yeah, your buddy teaches that. He's overseas right now training U.S. Air Force TCCC. Oh, nice. Very cool. Very cool. That's good. Very, very good. Yep. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. That's some good money there, too. Smoke him if you got him. This is great. Keep firing away with questions, comments, topics, everything, you know. Joey B, hey, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Any questions? Whatever, fire away in the chat. Slow mode is on. Helps me keep the spam bots away, but helps me keep track of the chat. Don't smoke? Yeah, you're not my dad. Started smoking cigars with my dad at 18. Love me a good Maduro. Good Maduro. Smoking's bad for you, yeah. I don't care. Security Inside Channel, literally up at the same time. Yeah, right. Yeah. And again, anyone new tuning in, otherwise, website and for Instagram, FracT. Fractal Spectral Camouflage Systems. That is my camouflage brand. I am taking licensing inquiries right now. Fix yourself, camera. Fix yourself. There we go. Joey B, apple or pineapple? Ooh, apple. I like apples more. Never been a huge pineapple fan. I'll eat it, but it's mediocre at best compared to a good apple. What is going on with my camera? Focus. It must be the light value quality changing outside because it is going to start getting dark soon. Plus, we got some storms rolling in. Demo Man Don Jay at Prepared Citizens is having a pistol training class on the 19th this month. Yeah, nice. He's down in Georgia, so it's a good ways away from me. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Jay does good stuff. Well, it's just the light value changing. There's some going on because the camera was fine for now. I mean, it's just a 720p camera. It's no big. It's whatever. I don't really care. It's supposed to look like this, and then it's doing that. It's because of the light value changing that's going on. Because it's fine for a while, but like in this time when I do live streams, because the light value does change going outside, going from getting dark out and stuff over time. So especially because it's still technically winter here. It's the start of spring, but technically winter still. We have very long winters here up north. So yeah, sometimes we get snow into May. So it is what it is, you know. No, it's not the smoke. This happens every live stream when it starts getting darker out or we get heavy cloud cover like it is right now. We're supposed to get some thunderstorms here soon, so they've been ripping a couple states west of us. So it's due time for them to start coming in here. So for real, you know. Joey B, have you watched Invincible? That's the animated show. Yeah, I've seen some of it. I haven't seen all of it. I'm so busy. I don't have too terribly much time to be watching that stuff, and I don't have a Netflix account or anything. So, but I have seen some of it. It's pretty brutal. So I like those like grittier superhero, anti-hero type series like that. I mean, I was big into comic books back in the day too. I've still got some, and so like Youngblood. I mean, the Watchmen stuff is cool. I liked the Boys series, TV series. That was fantastic. Yeah, so like stuff like that I like. Yeah, so the Invincible one is good. Yeah, I think it's brutal, and I like the animation style. There's more that American animation style. I'm not an anime fan, so I don't like anime at all. But yeah, so like more like what you see like the old Batman cartoon and stuff like that animation style is cool. I dig it. Heavy Metal 2000 as well. Metal for Breakfast, and some other people in here will know what I'm talking about. Heavy Metal 2000, awesome animated movie. If you've never seen it, you should watch it. Heavy Metal 2000, go watch it. Yeah, Invincible's good. I need to watch more of it. Do I do martial arts? So I have a little bit of a Muay Thai background, not as much as like my buddy Will from Gutter Fighting Secrets, who's in Thailand right now, living there, training Muay Thai. And then Army Combatives background, and then he and I, through his Gutter Fighting Secrets organization, we actually teach gutter fighting commando combatives. So like your Fairbairn, Sykes, Applegate, you know, that kind of stuff, like your old school commando combatives, mixed combatives. The modernized version of it, variant of it, we teach that. I'm an instructor for that, so we do that stuff. So it's all the nasty stuff, all the proper combat combatives, combat martial art, for that kind of stuff. All the nasty stuff, you know, knife stuff, and then everything that you're not taught in conventional martial arts or UFC, or you know, typical MMA stuff. So all the nasty fighting that you need to know when operating in non-permissive, high-risk, hostile, and conflict environments. So, dance. A metalhead. Our dancing is not the same. Joel Angeles, how familiar are you with knife training? Very familiar. I do quite a bit of knife training and knife instruction. So I also recommend another organization called the Libre Knife Fighting Guild. Scott Babb, fantastic instructor for essential knife fighting stuff. Ed Calderon and the stuff that he does as well is really good. There's also Bill Wolf up in Canada, Wolf's Combatives. He does some good knife stuff. There's Tommy Moore in the UK. He also does like Fairburn style gutter fighting commando combatives like we do and things like that. He's actually gone and trained Ukrainian forces before. He's also a heavyweight boxer, professional boxer. So there's some really good dudes out there that teach that stuff. And but yeah, I very familiar with knife training. I do it quite a bit. I love knife training. I love stabby pointy things. Gutter fighting, self-explanatory. Yep. Vader, full gruntal mating dance. Breet, forlorn. Hell yeah. Absolutely. Joy B, you love cutting? Hopefully not yourself, but others. I mean, it's a good skill to have. As far as if you're into that type of culture, warrior culture, even just self-defense culture, whatever. One of the best spots, and it's always going to be one of the best spots, armpit. Nerve cluster, brachial and axial arteries. You can't tourniquet it. Apart from other obvious places, that's a good spot. It's very nasty, but you know what? That's the stuff you need to know when stuff gets real. That's the important stuff. Teach you about dogs. I like dags. You like dags? I like dags. I mean, I was never a canine handler. I mean, my family's owned dogs before and stuff. I'm in too small of an apartment, and just apartment policy, not allowed to have dogs. Unfortunately, whenever I do buy some land and have property, I'm definitely getting a dog again. But I grew up with all kinds of dogs: huskies, little Shih Tzus, poodles, boxers, German shepherds, you name it. And I've been around working dogs too, obviously, whether it's Malinois or shepherds or whatever. My parents right now have a Aussie Doodle, so it's an Australian Shepherd and Poodle mix. More of the size of an Australian Shepherd, has the eyes and stuff and the tail and all that of an Australian Shepherd, but it has the ears and the fur of a poodle, so it's hypoallergenic. Really pretty dogs, actually, and they're really smart too because of the Aussie Shepherd. But poodles can be kind of smart too, but Aussie Shepherds are really smart. Yeah, really cool dog, beautiful dog. I like dogs, so, but yeah, if you can get a dog, I mean, take care of the damn thing. You better be a damn good dog owner, and train it right, train it well. But yeah, man's best friend for a reason, right? I'll go on a mild tangent about things, whatever. Security and Protection Insight Channel. What do you think of National Guardsmen needing a recovery day from a weekend of weapons calls? I think they need to get good. Yeah. Well, I mean, National Guard is kind of weekend warriors anyway, but if they want to be on a readiness status both for the state level and because they have that crossover of DoD control as well, they need to be on a consistent readiness status. There's full-time National Guard, and then there's the part-time National Guard. So I got buddies that are full-time National Guard, and Air Guard and stuff. So they're working all the time, just like standard active duty. Um, it's the part-timer units and stuff that really need to step up their game and maintain a readiness. And that goes for reservists too. And I get it because reservists are reservists because they have a full-time job that's intensive or whatever it is. One of my old elementary school teachers was a reservist, and served in Korea and Kosovo back in the day. She was cool. She was really cool. But she was a reservist, so I mean, she's teacher first, you know. But when the time comes, you better be on your A game and ready to do your job, your military job. So you gotta maintain that readiness. Just expecting to only do it for that period of time for quals and training and whatever else, and then slacking off the rest of the time, like, it's not really going to cut it. You need to maintain your PT standards. You need to maintain your KSAs, your knowledge, skills, and abilities. You need to maintain your weapons proficiency, your job requirement proficiencies, like everything. Like, even if it's a part-time job like that, you need to maintain 100% proficiency all the time. The emojis are funny. Oh yeah. Yep. That's why I like you. Yeah, thanks, man. We get along. We're on the same page. You know, we're on the same page. We have good talks about that stuff and what's jacked up in the private sector and everything, and the all walks and types of people in that sector that are terrible. Joey B, do you like cheese? I live in Wisconsin, so yeah, we are the homeland. We are the fatherland of cheese. We are the homeland, the Mecca, whatever you want to call it. I would prefer you don't spam Joey B. As long as you're being engaging and having fun and good conversation and stuff. But you can't post links or anything. Don't do any of that. Spam bots. You're not a spam bot. Obviously, you're talking and being cool. So yeah, ask away. Whatever questions you got, man. Topics, whatever. Fire away, man. That's fine. Yes. Love cheese. Love cheese of all kinds. It's fantastic. It is a essential part of our diet here. Dance. You dance too. You dance first, Joey. I already danced. You can dance. Dance better. I don't really dance otherwise. I mean, slam dance. No karate in the pit. No, that's fine. You can do karate in the pit if you're at a hardcore show. Otherwise, not really karate in the pit. 300 Black. How do you think Blackwater would have fared in the later stages of Afghanistan? Well, they still exist just under Academy and part of Constella's group. Portions of what was Blackwater, now Academy, is folded into Triple Canopy now. Academy on that side, they focus on training, but also some OGA and GSS contracts. I've trained at the facility. It's fantastic. They were still there up until the pullout. So they were faring fine. They were doing very well, actually. The company is doing very well. So, I mean, it was just under a different name, different ownership, still doing the same things and doing a very good job. Consummate professionals, really good dudes. So I've worked for Triple Canopy and Centera Group and such under the Constellas umbrella. So no, great. They were doing fine up until the withdrawal, and they were forced to pull out, which was unfortunate. It really sucked because they had to leave a lot of assets behind, armored vehicles, weapons, all that stuff. It's just personnel to include dogs, personnel, and then, hard drives, paperwork, grab, pack your bag and get out. That's what it was. Everything else got left, which really sucks. And at the time, I was on an ERT, emergency response team, globally, or a GERT, a GSS-ERT. So it's a global response, emergency response team. And we were staged ready to go help with the whole withdrawal situation as it was starting. Yeah, they wouldn't let us. So not happy about that. So, but the company rebounded okay. They're doing rebounded even after losing a lot of assets there. They're doing fine. They're doing just fine. Frag. Vader 608, regarding tech training, are there any ranges that you would recommend that offer shoot houses or competition lanes? So for competition stuff, you have to sign up for like USPSA events and stuff, which in the state of Wisconsin, like Winnequa at Lodi. You don't have to be a member of Winnequa to do the USPSA events. They host the events though. There's a couple other ranges that host those competitions as well. I don't really shoot those. Vortex though, which I've shot a competition out there before, at Vortex. The Vortex facility, they have a shoot house. But it's only for right now. It's just fucking airsoft. Because I was talking to them last time I was there. At some point they want to up it to sims. They also have one of the Virtus digital training simulators, the like 360. It's them, Haley Strategic, and like one other place in the country that have the Virtus training system. They have that there too. And then but they'll also host competitions sometimes, and they're obviously a big competition sponsor and stuff too. But you have to look at the USPSA website, and it'll give you a list of the ranges by state that have competitions. As far as shoot houses, though, I think there's only 2 in the state, and the one is at Vortex. Sometimes they'll have they do classes that are open to the public for public enrollment. So you just have to look at the Vortex Edge range website, because that's where the shoot house stuff is listed. So that's where that's at. That's the closest to us too. So, do you mewing, or is that jaw thing? No, whatever. That's dumb. Security protection is such channel. IDPA. Yeah, that's the other one. I don't care. I'm a tactical and combat shooter. I've done one competition, and that was at Vortex, which I did well in. I won 2 of 3 events. But first place won 2 of 3 events. But yeah, I don't personally do any of that stuff really. It's I have some, just coming from that combat and practical shooting side, and not so much the sport competition shooting side. Like there's things I don't like about it. I won't really get into that though, unless you want me to. But Joel Angeles, was it difficult transitioning into LSCO, or was your ETS prior to that transition? LSCO. I'm not sure what that is. No, I got out in 2008 from the Army, so it was a long time ago. I'm not familiar with that acronym. It sounds like it's part of the newer process. So, and I was out on a medical board, so I got injured, and it was permanent enough. The Army did not want to keep me around, so, which is what happens to a lot of people. So, went through. It was kind of funny because they carted me over to a couple of like medical retirement classes for like that whole process of out briefing, and then the discharge, like that week of discharge. And they were like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "I don't know." But I sat in on a couple of them. It was whatever. But it's pretty quick. the transition programs are much better nowadays than they were back then. They were damn near non-existent for a lot of characters, classes of discharges getting out of the military. Very little for a transition program. Now there's actually transition programs, so you're much better off nowadays. Because back then it was basically depending on what how you were being discharged and stuff. If it was medical, you might have a couple of classes like that, like I was talking about and stuff, and then just usually either the beginning or near the end of the week, they just give you DD 214 and say, "See you later." That's it. So, they just send you on your way with a plane ticket home. If you're not, living off base, and have a house and stuff in the area, it's whatever. Yeah, it's that quick. So now you have more transitional programs to go through and stuff, and you have a lot more assistance out there now. There's a lot of veteran organizations and NGOs and stuff that are there to specifically help veterans in the transition process. Now, we didn't have much of any of that when I was in and when I got out. So there's still not a whole lot for standard conventional line units and grunts and stuff, but there's some out there. Yeah, stark contrast to back in the day to now. So. Security protection and inside channel. I did that only because it was in town. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, if it's fun, go for it. Why not? It's really honing your fundamentals and stuff. It's just I would like it more with and there's some other events that some dudes like one guy I know, Delta 34. He's put on 2 events now called Ridge Racer, and he's in Ohio, so he's not terribly far from you. The Ridge Racer events are kind of a combat shooting competition type of thing. I really like how he does things. There's a lot more applicability from a practical sense for the real world in that type of event over your standard IDPA, USPSA stuff. Yeah, we did a lot of coin, Joel. Yeah, we did a lot of coin. We did both. Large scale operations and MOUT, and then NTC, Desert Warfare, and all that, and then coin counterinsurgency. That's a lot of what we did. Yep, yeah, it was a long time ago, Joel. 2008. So, and got out, and then about a half a year after I got out, I started getting into the security sector, private sector. So, security, yeah, check it out. Delta 34 on YouTube. The Ridge Racer event. Yeah, check it out. He's got some really good videos on it, and it's a proving ground for people's setups and their kit and everything, but also just the event itself is a really nice. It's high stress. It's a more of a combat oriented shooting competition. Unknown range targets, blended targets, like a number of things. So it's even better than like brutality matches in a lot of ways, in my opinion. So definitely something to look at. Well, like USPSA and all that, like I get it's sports shooting and it's competition. I guess I'm going to get into it a little bit, but I get that it's the sport shooting and competition side of it. Okay, fine, whatever. But like, there's things I don't like about it. Like, there's not a single time in the real world application, whether it's a everyday carry defensive shoot or combat or whatever, that you hear a beep and everything kicks off. You get gunshots. So it's like they should just walk around with blank fire rifle, fucking popping off rounds. Firing off rounds to start the course. They should do that. And then another thing, and I get it's for safety and all that because and all that. Like see-through barriers and things like that, and you can just see the course and everything. Like, yeah, I don't really like that. Like, it's supposed to be an unknown course of fire. It's technically unknown until you get the briefing for the courses of fire when the whole day starts for the events. But like, you still see everything. It's not an unknown course of fire. It's not unknown targets. Just things like that. And that's why I like the Ridge Racer course, the Ridge Racer event, things like they're filling some of the gaps there. Where the crossover to practicality really takes hold and the combat application takes hold. That's why I like those. So Yeah, it's just things like that. And then the whole point system and like all that stuff and the classes and everything for all the different like they just make it confusing. And it's like I don't care. You have your stuff, run your stuff, You're gonna figure out if it works or not for you, you know. Okay, yeah, high speed, these Gucci race guns and stuff that they use in a high end competition and everything. Okay, cool, but those aren't those are not combat weapons. So they're not going to work well for you in combat. So it's like, and I know they have the classes for like bone stock Glocks and whatever, but it's like they just make it confusing, make it way more convoluted than it should be and needs to be. And the point system is confusing. It's like whatever. In a real firefight, you have all the time you have the rest of your life to figure it out, as we say. You got all the time in the world. So you're not on a timer for anything really. Joel Angeles, preferred EDC ammo. I like the Federal HST stuff. Yeah. The Hornady critical defense stuff isn't bad either, but Federal HST is my go-to for defensive ammo for jacketed hollow points and stuff. Yep. It's consistent, super consistent ammo. It's really good. It does everything it's supposed to. So it's good ammo. Got some aircraft flying over my place. No F-35s today, though. Yep. HTC. Okay. HTC is pretty good, too. Federal ammo in general is just consistent. It's just good ammo. There's nothing wrong with it. Hornady, like I said, Hornady is not bad either. And then the Spear Gold Dot stuff, I mean, that's a little bit more Gucci, which is funny because like standard Spear like FMJ stuff is range ammo, but like the Gold Dot and like some of that other stuff, I mean, it's nicer ammo. The Defiant Munitions ammo is actually really cool too. That's some good ammo. That's really expensive stuff though, but it's good ammo. Security Protection Insight Channel. What do I think of the tariffs issue? I mean, it's not really an issue. We're just, not being played for a fool economically as a country anymore, or aren't standing for it anymore. I think it's a good thing. Finally home, awesome. I think it's a good thing. We need to do more domestic production. We need to strengthen U.S. economy with homegrown business, homegrown industry, and all that. We should not be relying on China for 90% of our textiles or metal. I mean, U.S. steel is excellent. There's no reason we should be going to another country for it. Or we should just be using more European steel because the Swedish and Finnish steel, German steel is some of the best in the world as well. So why are we settling for less? But yeah, a lot of it, besides stuff like, that doesn't grow here food wise, like bananas or whatever, but like other things like everything else that we should be able to do in-house, we should be doing in-house. Absolutely. Strengthen our exports as much as having that self-sufficiency like we used to have. That's important. Especially when you're being taken for a ride by having to rely on a foreign country who's going to take you for everything you got, steal your intellectual property and everything else. Like, no, we need to do everything in house. Joey B, you're back. Welcome back. So, and that's why with my Camel brand, I'm only willing to work with domestic production. And in the European sense, it's got to be equivalent to Berry compliant for European production. Everything's got to be in-house, Same with Australia or whatever too. Not gonna work with any of the any of the other options outside the country where there's just too much risk involved and everything else. So, Joey B, you're gonna tickle me? Not if I tickle you first. You're silly. I like silly. It's all right. Joel Angeles, can't go wrong with the Federal HST of the Winchester Ranger. Yeah, we would intermittently have the Winchester Ranger stuff as some of our defensive duty ammo on the last contract I was on, and it was okay. It shot really dirty, and I noticed a little bit more inconsistency with it. Other than that, not bad ammo. Well, and Winchester on contract runs the Lake City plant and stuff as well. So if you get the Lake City stuff, I mean, Lake City stuff's always good and consistent, but Winchester's handling that now, or like, and then was it AMG or whatever, the other part of it that handles it, which I think is just the collective with Winchester or whatever. Yeah, that stuff's okay. The sun and the moon. Yes. Yeah, starting to get darker. Dimmer and darker. It's going to storm here soon. You like Joel Angeles? Joel is a good dude. He's asking some great questions. We have good conversations. I say it every live stream, and I don't think I've said it yet. So I'm really glad with the group of people and the types of people and the subscribers and stuff that come to my channel. I don't get really any awful people. Everyone's cool. Most people don't have their head up their own ass. They can critically think. They appreciate and value, at least with the stuff that I do, and like that side with information, TTPs, practices, the craft, with that kind of stuff, or the music side or whatever it is. Like, they appreciate it, and they're part of that. They're part of that scene, and it's all good. It's all good people. So it's all good people. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm actually fairly consistent numbers in my live stream this time around, which is awesome. So I appreciate everyone being in here. So that's awesome. Joel Angeles, thoughts on Buffalo Bore or Liberty Civil Defense? Honestly, haven't really shot much of either. I've shot a little Buffalo Bore. It's whatever. I don't really use them. So usually their prices aren't as good as prices for other quality ammo that I can get. So, I just go for other stuff. If you move, you're gay. Well, I didn't move there, so ball's in your court now. Joel Angeles, apart from my bombardment of questions, I'm a pretty cool dude. Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Vader 608, regarding music, any fun things coming down the pipeline? I actually didn't talk about any music stuff. People got me on the tangent with the camo brand and everything. Music stuff. Aposticum, who Vader is the front man for. Aposticum, we're working through and finishing up studio session stuff to get it to mix master, and then the first full-length album for Aposticum will be out. Second full-length Eldarion album is done. We're still waiting on Anthracite Records, the German label we work with. And then that'll be out. Other projects don't have too much else going on as far as in the works right now. Pythonism will probably be starting another release soon. Anointing Maelstrom, that's whenever I feel like it, because that's my solo project, one of my solo projects. Same with Odious Emesis. Decoherence, we are kind of starting to work on tracks. It's a slow process just because Stroda over in the UK is super busy. and just with the time difference and everything, it is what it is. Sometimes it takes us a couple of years to get an album out just because of the process. But yeah, that's all I have going on right now for music stuff. Apart from any potential commissions or anything that may be coming in. Void Blights, another project that I'm in with Justin, who runs Vargeist Records and stuff. I think we're going to start working on a new album soon as well. Haven't really heard from him too much lately though, because he got a new job and it's keeping him very busy, which is good. And then the label's keeping him busy, which is good. But yeah, his job's keeping him very busy. Yeah, that's all really for projects right now. So, couple of albums that are either ready or just about ready to go, and then yeah, playing some shows and all that good stuff. I know you weren't trying to plug the Band Vader, but I'm gonna plug it. Aposticum, go check it out, you bastards. As well as all my other projects, Eldarion, Pythonism, The Anointing Maelstrom, Odious Emesis, Void Blight, Decoherence, all those projects. Security and protection inside channel. I agree. I've been blocked by many security guards, though, because of the way I think and things I talk about. Shake your head. Yep. They don't like a dose of, truth medicine. I mean, that's their problem, right? Fucking. If they're not doing something the right way, or there's a better way to do something and they don't like it, and then they're kind of like stuck in their way like that, and like, oh, I've done this for 25 years, blah blah blah. Okay, that's cool. You're still doing shit wrong. Or like the video you had the other day talking about those dudes dealing with that heat cat patient. Holy shit! That company absolutely should have been sued, because none of that was the correct way to do anything with medical techniques and response. Holy shit! I was like, wow. They are lucky that she recovered from that okay, because that could have been very bad. Yeah. You don't freaking move a heat cat patient if they fell, because you got to worry about head and neck and back injury. If they didn't fall, but if they didn't fall bad, or they were caught or whatever, and they're a heat cat, you move them to shade. You try and cool them off with wet rags. You don't give them water. You got to wait for someone to come in to do an IV on them, because they need fluids, but you don't give them to them that way. Not unless you absolutely have to, for a dire situation that is well outside the capability or the ability to have medical personnel do the right thing. That extreme circumstance, you don't do that otherwise. Like, yeah, there's just shit like that. And like, you were right by taking pulse, because again, sample, the acronyms sample and AVPU. Always. You're checking for injuries, you're checking pulse, you're checking responsiveness, you're asking questions, seeing if they're conscious, all that stuff, pupil dilation, everything, capillary refill, everything. It's stuff you should be doing. If they're not doing that the wrong way, or they're asking why they should be doing that, or saying that they don't need to be doing that when a medical emergency like that, holy shit. They need training. They need remedial training immediately. They need to be recertified or certified if they're even certified. If they're not, they shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff unless they really have good training, which obviously those guys didn't. I'm like, holy shit. Sorry, that's bad. So bad. Yep, good man. They did give water. Yep, told them not to, and she's dehydrated. Yeah, but you don't. Again, only in an extreme circumstance where medical support is not available for a long period of time. That's the only time when that's even considered for that. Like, yeah, you don't do that otherwise. Holy shit. You cool them off externally first. and you wait for proper medical application for fluids intake. I mean, they're going to have to go get assessed anyway, especially if it's a bad heat cat. And I mean, back in the Army, I mean, that happens. Like, you're starting to get a heat cat, yeah, they make you drink water. And I mean, they just made you drink water a lot anyway. That just is what it is. That's just culture in the Army. At least it was back then, you know. But yeah, not you don't do that. Rashad Gwen, I read your comment. Wish I worked with people like you. We have a few good people. That's good. It's good you have a few good people. You got to get everyone up to your level, so to speak, you know? It's just the approach, and it's like, yeah, they need to care. They need to care. There's so many people that in that industry and in those types of jobs, uniform security especially, that just don't care to a large degree. And that's a problem. I get it. There's not much incentive, especially when it's low paying gigs, but when it's good paying gigs and you've got private, state, or federal contracts and they're paying well, you better give a damn about your job and do things right. And always try to progress yourself. It's the same for law enforcement, the same for military, whatever else. You better be continuing to try and advance yourself, learn new things, emphasis on your KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities, your skills practices, doing your certifications, recertification, everything. Like, there's no excuse to slack. And if you do, what's the point at that point? You better find a different job. You know, there's no point. There's nothing in it for you then. And you're not enjoying the job, you need to find another job. That goes for anyone in any job, really. If you don't enjoy your job, find something that you do enjoy. But, you know, when it gets to that point, find something else. And it just is what it is. I really like doing the consulting and advising stuff. You know, I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and I enjoy most of it. You know, I work with really good, cool clients. Get to meet really good people, get to travel and all that. I enjoy that. But if it ever gets to the point where I don't enjoy that job anymore, I'm not going to keep doing it, you know. And I'm focusing with the camo brand and stuff. If I can really make this work, I mean, because it's already moving along well, and I am where I should be. But if it really gets to taking off, I won't have to do anything else, which is awesome. I love that, you know. But I need to get to that point, you know. Until then, I'm always going to have my fingers in multiple pies, so to speak, you know, with various projects and endeavors and stuff. But, you know, for a job, you know, if I can make this work long term, yeah, I'm not going to keep doing the consulting stuff. I mean, I'll still do advising and consulting and convey information and, you know, all that stuff, but, you know, this can do much better. So why not keep at it? So I've got to. I've got a lot invested in it already. So yep, agree 100%. Problem is, no one wants to. 90%, 98% of classes are free to. Posted a link this morning, or are free to, as in also or as well. Gotcha. Posted a link this morning and brought it up at work. No one wants to. Yeah, and that's not cool. Like, you're doing that job. You're especially line unit personnel. You're out doing overt and proactive protective services. You better be taking the courses. You got the time off, take the courses. That's how you feel about doing BLS classes. Rather teach full time and my job part time. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. If there's any technical colleges around you, I mean, see what it takes to get your teaching license for that. Because I don't think it's much. Because with your background, I mean, you can go teach some courses there under the protective services programs, you know, criminal justice degrees and stuff. Because we had an entire class on private sector security in my program when I went back to get my degree. And then there's first responder lifesaver courses and stuff. You get your BLS certificate, at least in our program. You get your BLS certification. You get first responder certifications. You get a number of other things. So, I mean, I look at that. You know, and all my instructors were either still in law enforcement, or they were National Guard or whatever, or some were private sector as well. And then they were teachers. They were technical college teachers. So, might be an option. Joey B, say UWU. Is there an accent on that, or what is that? Oh, that's wait, that's part of that freaking. I'm not an anime guy, so I think that's part of that whole thing. Uvu. Uvu. I'm gonna pronounce the W as a V because I speak German. Ich habe 5 Jahre in der Schule gelernt. So, ich kann zu Aussprachen als ein bisschen rustig. The high-pitched voice. What are we singing falsetto here? Are we the darkness? I believe in a thing called love, or whatever they do. I don't do a lot of that. Security Protection Insight Channel. We're going to look into that. You're an NAEMT instructor for mental health resilience and EMS patient stress. So you're right. Oh, nice. Very good. Yeah, dude. I don't think you would have too much else to do. And I mean, you've done it, you know, without being in the direct like EMT course program, but like the general degree programs, you could absolutely you have the certifications and background to be an instructor. Joy B, I'm gonna go eat. Eat something good. Eat well, my dude. Whoosh. Yeah. Now it's 2 hours now, so yep, that's about the duration of my live stream here. So I'm actually gonna close it out too, and I'm gonna go eat some food as well. I ate a little bit earlier, but we'll go eat something else. Excellent, excellent, excellent talk with everyone tonight. Great questions, great topics of discussion with great people. That's all one can ask for, right? Good times. Popcorn, nice. Cheddar popcorn. Get some cheese on there. Joel Angeles, take care. Take care as well. Yeah, we'll close it out there. Good times with everyone. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you all. Go check out Fractal Spectral Camouflage Systems. I have the website up. FRACT, FRAC-T camo.com. FRACT camo on Instagram. Go check it out. And hopefully we'll get it onto the market in full swing sooner than later. And all the music stuff, I'll be posting more music stuff as they come along as well. So stay tuned for all of that good stuff as well. Yeah, I was glad you could make it too, man. Thanks for tuning in. And for everyone else, thank you for tuning in. As always, go do cool shit. Be good to your neighbors. Take life by the horns. Seize the carp. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Vader. And as always, metal up. Out.